Hi everybody, it's Jennifer McCreath, February 20th, 2021. Bruce Chalk, probably seen that name in the news. Who is he? Why is he doing what he's doing? Why is he saying what he's saying? A lot of people are asking these questions. Let's take a look at the legislation, because that might give us an idea. Appointment of Chief Electoral Officer. On resolution of the House of Assembly, the Lieutenant Governor and Council shall appoint a Chief Electoral Officer. Do you know what that means, folks? The government decides who the Chief Electoral Officer is. In this case, it's the Liberal government. Don't believe me? Let's go to the government's website where they proudly announced back in 2016 the appointment of one Bruce Chalk. New Chief Electoral Officer and Commissioner for Legislative Standards appointed. The Honourable Tom Osborne today announced the appointment of Mr. Bruce Chalk as Chief Electoral Officer and Commission for Legislative Standards effective immediately. So not only is Bruce Chalk the Chief Electoral Officer, he's the guy you go to complain to if you have a problem with the Chief Electoral Officer. This is what's wrong with our system, folks. We have a broken system, a system that's basically set up to allow the government of the day to put any old partisan hack into these important roles, such as running an election and being the person you complain to if the elections aren't being run properly. So do you know what I say, Newfoundland and Labrador? Especially you folks in Mount Pearl North? This election has to be a referendum on this broken system. The NDP has promised electoral reform. And if I get elected, I'll be the first to put my hand up and volunteer. We're going to go through that act, all 129 pages of it. Every section, every page, every paragraph, every word. And anything that stands out, we're going to fix it. Bruce Chalk will not be appointed by a government. This position needs to go through a thorough job competition run by a non-partisan political body. A non-political body, really. And the Chief of Legislative Standards can't be the same. That's a conflict of interest. If you have a problem with a commissioner, you need to be able to complain to someone other than the commissioner. So we will fix that. In fact, I'm proposing that all commissioners, Human Rights Commission, there's lots of these bodies that government set up and claim that they're non-partisan bodies when in reality they're not. I don't necessarily personally blame Bruce Chalk. He's just doing probably what he feels he needs to do to keep his job. If the Liberals get re-elected, this guy's going to keep his job. If the Liberals lose the election, this guy's probably going to lose his job. So don't take it personally out against Bruce Chalk. Look at the system, the broken system, and blame the Liberals. Andrew Furey was so desperate for power that he called an election in the middle of winter, in the middle of a friggin' pandemic. This guy should not be rewarded. He should be punished. He is not a leader. Furey needs to go. Bruce Chalk needs to go. The Liberals need to go. And if you're thinking, well, what about Ches Crosbie? There's a committee. It's in that legislation. Official parties, meaning you have 3 or more candidates elected, and those who have run 20 or more candidates in the last election get to form an elections review committee. Ches, you're supposed to have spent the past 2 years in a committee with Furey looking at these very issues, but you didn't do that, did you? Did you even know this committee existed? Unfortunately, the NDP was not part of this committee because we only ran, what, less than 20 candidates in the last election. Well, that's going to change. We now will get back into this committee. And we're going to have an equal say in keeping this committee active and making sure it functions. Come on, folks. We must do better than this. This is a very serious time Global pandemics come around once every 100 years. More than ever, it's important that we have the right people in charge to handle this and to review what happens after this. Where's our vaccines, Trudeau? What about this Green Report? Let's have an economist leading our country. Let's have an economist leading our province. Vote for Alison Coffin. She's not a doctor, she's not a lawyer, she's an economist. She's going to take this Green Report and she'll tell us what part of it is good and what part of it perhaps isn't. Because again, the Green Report was commissioned by the Liberals, for the Liberals. End of rant. Please vote NDP. Thank you very much for watching.